Alright guys, so we're going to be covering Virtual DJ8's config button. So this is really important because if you're going to troubleshoot, the first spot you want to check in the software is the config. So to find it, you're going to go right up here to the top left of the program and click on this little button right here. The first thing it brings you to is the audio tab. You'll notice that there's a few different tabs, and the first one is the audio, which is also the most important for troubleshooting. So when you see this here, you have output, you have card, and you have input. And then at the bottom here, you have source, sound card, and channel. So the first button here to pick is an output button. Now, if you're using a controller, this is really important. So if you don't take away anything else from this lesson, take away this. If you're using a controller, you want to make sure to select speaker, and then under card you want to select your controller. So I'm using a Denon MC3000. If you're using an NS6, if you're using a Pioneer, whatever it is, it'll show up right here, and click on that. And for input, don't select anything. So I'm going to tell you that again. If you're using a controller, you want speaker plus headphone, and then select your controller, and then don't select anything for input. That's really important. Now, if you're using an 1/8 inch, so if you're just plugging directly into a speaker through your audio jack in your laptop for, like, let's say a ceremony or cocktail hour, you want to select speaker only, and then you want to select internal sound card. So the internal sound card, that's just the sound card that's in your laptop. You're not using a controller, so this option actually won't even be there. So once again, if you're doing ceremony, cocktail, or anything involving just taking your laptop and plugging it directly into a speaker, you want to select speaker only and then internal sound card. So that's really, really important, guys. As for this box down here, don't touch anything. It is very rare that you're going to have to tweak any of the settings in here. It does it automatically for you, and I would just not touch it at all. Now moving down to interface, this is pretty cool. You have some of your deck view options. For the most part, you just want to be Virtual DJ 2 decks. If for some reason you like the look of, let's say, 5, I don't know why you'd want that, or more likely 7, if you're used to Virtual DJ 7, you can do that. But just, for the most part, stick with Virtual DJ 2 decks. Controllers, this is where you're going to find all of your mapping. So if you wanted to change what certain buttons did on your keyboard or on your controller, you could do it here. I would probably not touch any of this. It's all set to good default settings. There's really no reason to mess with it, but this is how you would do it if you wanted to for some reason. Options is really important as well. So if you select the options tab, there's all these different buttons here, and you click the arrow here for it to open up. And you want to be careful about tweaking any of this stuff, but for the most part, if there's something that you want Virtual DJ8 to do, you're most likely going to find it in the options here as far as tweaking settings. So there's really nothing here that I would worry about. Again, the default settings are pretty on point. For browser, there's really, just looking here, I wouldn't touch any of that. Just kind of want you to know that it is here. If for some reason you have a good understanding of the software and you want to tweak anything. Audio, the only things that you might want to do here is I would probably disable auto BPM match. I think it defaults as having it on, and I don't like that. Basically what it does is when you load up a song, if it's close to the BPM of the song that you're currently playing, it's going to auto match it. I don't like that because then I'll accidentally not notice that the tempo's gone up on a song. And now the rest of these, it's kind of preference, but most of this I would just not worry about at all. Video. Only thing that you're really going to want to turn off here is video logo. If you're ever playing music videos through a TV, you don't want that Virtual DJ logo on there. It just looks bad. I wouldn't even touch karaoke. skins, controllers, sampler, record. This is definitely something you might want to edit. So if you're recording a song through the master tab, you can change the file path here. So you just want to name it here, and I wouldn't touch any of this. I would just touch this part right here that's highlighted. And then you could pick, do you want an MP3 format and different audio qualities, and so that's where you do your tweaking there. Broadcast, I wouldn't touch. Internet, I wouldn't touch. Auto mix, I wouldn't touch. I'd do it over in this side over here. And then performances and time codes, I wouldn't touch that either. Licenses, this is important for sure. This is where you log in. So if you've purchased Virtual DJ Pro Infinity license, which is definitely the way to go, then you want to make sure that you're logged into your account. Otherwise, the software is not going to work properly. So don't even play around with a pirated copy. The defense from piracy on Virtual DJ is pretty strong, and you could definitely find yourself screwed on an event if you're trying to use any sort of pirated copy. So go buy the copy, sign in right here, and then when you sign in, everything's just going to give you full access. One thing I would do is I would log into your Virtual DJ account on the website and get your key code and put it somewhere on your desktop just in case you ever need to enter in your key code. Broadcast, don't even worry about this. Record, these are just more record options. You saw it over here in options, but you can also, this is just a simpler view of it. And then remote, I wouldn't worry about either. So yeah, that's a very basic rundown. Like I said, this is the most important thing here. Just make sure that you have your sound settings right, because you could, if you're having any sort of controller or audio problem, sometimes it'll like half work if you have the settings half right. So just make sure that, again, if you're using a controller, speaker plus headphone, select your controller, don't select anything on input. If you're not using a controller and it's just plugged right into a speaker, then it's speaker only, internal sound card. So if anything, just remember those 2 points right there. Other than that, that is pretty much everything that you need to know about the config in Virtual DJ8.